Oh, hey, Alan. I need to figure out a better way to I need to figure out how to um, have like an overlay that moves the chat so I don't have to use this dedicated window. That'd be kind of cool. Do you know of any programs that could help me have a better I'm lost on words today, but like it allows me to have an overlay. Do you know anything like that? Because it does get kind of annoying having to manage this little window. But whatever, it works. Yeah. I think someone said like 30 or I don't know, but apparently the developer of that project killed himself, so I don't really want to use that since it's going to be a dead project. I'll have to do some research into that after the stream. Alright, what was on my to-do list again? Hook support. I'm going to work on this first. I'm thinking I can do this by... So, I'm working on a program for adding reproducibility to any Linux distribution, and I need to figure out how to... I'm basically trying to figure out how to import generation files so people can organize their configs. Because you basically just kind of like NixOS, you instantiate all your programs in here, and then Dister will read all of them and install them, remove them accordingly. It uses a history-based approach, where it basically if you've ever used the diff command to find the difference between two files, it's like that. It sees what you added and removed, and then you can commit generations. So I'm just doing some final polishing before I make a video about it. Currently, I'm on version 1.2.3. And I can actually list out all my generations too with Dister gen list, and you can see like I set up the machine, installed element, installed signal, program I made called Coin Flipper, actually my first ever Rust program that I still have, that is. Codium, pipx, pip, removed Browse because it had Firefox, just like all my generations. So I've been using this tool to basically, if I reinstall Linux, I can just run the tool and I have all my programs installed. I'm hoping to add more features. One thing that's kind of tough is I need to figure out how to make it work on literally every single distribution under the sun. So I need to figure out how to, for example, I'm trying not to use sudo because I also want this tool to work on immutable distributions. So, although I will probably add a setting in the future that makes it so you can make it immutable distribution unfriendly, so you can unlock more features, but I want it to work on every single distribution. Dang, I forgot what I was supposed to do. Hello, Alex Her. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Also, what did I just do? I feel like I broke something. Yeah, what just happened? Oh, I'm in the configuration file, that's why. Sup? I didn't expect, how many people do we have? 5 people. That's, for a channel my size, it's, I think, pretty good. Almost at 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. Yeah, I'm working on a tool for reproducibility. I'm trying to implement some of these features. Yeah, Alex Her. Whenever I see your name, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Simple X hotkey daemon, SXHKD. I don't know why. SXHKD. I guess I kind of see why. 5 letters. Emitting, I guess that's a 0. Yeah. Alright, what should I work on first? Hook support or importing extra TOML files? When I say extra TOML files, I mean in my configuration for Dister, I have this gen.toml file. This is what actually it's like configuration.nix. And then, like, with configuration.nix, you can import, for example, virtualization.nix. So the importing would be, like, if I went to gen.toml, I could add an import section that would list importable files that would get pulled in. So, like, I could, you know. That's actually the one I'm dreading, funny enough, because file systems in maintaining a path in Rust is actually kind of difficult. Like, how do I explain this? Basically, if you have a program that you specify the path, I don't know. So if I had a program that basically printed out every single argument you pass to it, and it's written in Rust, if I said something like, my program, and then I pass in a path, so like, for example, my bash RC, obviously this won't work because my program doesn't exist. What it'd print out is something like this. It'd print out the first argument passed into programs is always the execution path, but then it'd print out the full path to my bash RC, and it actually detects this. But in Rust, if you try and, for example, write some Rust code that, if I set my linting language to Rust, if you try and write some Rust code that, for example, tries to open a file at a relative path, it won't work. So I'm just writing some example code. I could also put .unwrap, but whatever. If I try to open something like, for example, .bashrc, it will not understand this. It won't. Same with well, it will actually understand the ... That is kind of weird. And it will basically, when you're debugging your program, the current directory for it is where cargo.toml is. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, is it's only understood by the shell. But see, there's all these weird cases. I think it's implemented by the program. Like, they have some sort of, assuming it's written in Rust, some sort of like path struct with a new function for instantiation, and it automatically parses it. Well, home is an environment variable, so if I tried using that, I'd have to use some special stuff. I'm assuming you mean like literally say, if I wrote out that Rust example instead of a tilde do $home, yeah, I'd have to basically do I'd have to do yeah, so the way I would get that is I would have to I could print out home, for example, in Rust with std env var, I believe, or get. I'm actually not sure because I've never had to use this function. But basically, then you pass in $home, or maybe it's just home. Again, I've never had to use this function. So, yeah. You would still have to, yeah. But what I was noticing is, for example, if I go to waybar in my Hyprland config, and I go to my config file, I actually have relative paths. So, for example, my power menu calls tilde /.config hyper scripts waybar power menu. And that's this thing right here. And I'm glad stuff like waybar supports this, because it allows my rice to be portable and work for everyone, which is always a goal of mine. I always hate it when ricers make changes to the rice that only work on their machine. I always think that's a little weird. But yeah. So I'll probably how I'll approach this is I will, well, in Dister's sake, what I'll do is I'll create a struct called path, and this, I know there's a struct already in Rust called path, but it's in std path, so there will be no conflict. But basically what this would be is I'm not sure. Sway and C. When would you have to use Sway and C to load other files? Yeah. Because all it is a notification daemon and a notification tray, so. I know you can apply hooks to it, but that hasn't worked for me for whatever reason. Anywho, for the path struct, maybe what I could do is have like a path argument of type string. In my Discord? Alright, let me check. Oh, Velu. Alright. Good to see you in the stream. Huh? My chat just disappeared. Oh, there it is. This works with relative paths. Rom file, rom path, rom... Yeah. Yeah. The issue is Rust doesn't know how to parse the tilde. In Elixir, are you talking about Sway and C? Wait, Velu. So, oh no, Velu. I mean, like in Rust code. Because when you pass in this tilde through the shell, it automatically turns into an actual path. The shell automatically does that for the program. Yeah, Elixir, you should... wait, let's just see what I have in my Sway and C config. Oh, I left the chat behind. Alright, so in config.json. Alright, see ya, Bella. Alright, so Elixir, this line I think I can ignore. That's never worked. But, okay, oh, so what I'm doing is if I yeah, so if I show you my auto starts file, I'm calling the script swancy start, and what that is it kills swancy with both kill all and pkill just to make sure. It sleeps a little bit, and then it calls Sway and C, but it passes in -C to specify the configuration file, and then -S to specify the style sheet file. So, yeah, you have a point, yeah. Yeah, so you can just pass in flags to the start scripts. I always use start scripts because they just are more flexible. Alright, yeah, I should probably get programming. Alright, so if I go to my generations file, I've got this generations struct. I will add a field called imports. And this will be a vec string. Oop. And then, of course, this default function needs an imports default implementation. Oh wait, I can just do vec new. I am using Hyprland. It's a Wayland compositor, so I have all these fancy animations, and I actually was able to write custom animation code. Like closing a window, opening a window, I actually wrote some of this animation code for myself. It's not too different from the default animation code, but it's code that I wrote for animations. You can also do stuff like animated gradient borders. Yeah, honestly, Wayland has been amazing. Yeah. Also, funny enough, the main reason I refuse to go back to Xorg for ricing is not necessarily Wayland itself. I mean, Wayland's a big part of it. Hyprland is unbelievable and does stuff that Xorg just can't do. I'm 14, and the two one of the two main reasons I'm not going back to X, well, three, well, I guess two of them mash into one, but everything on Wayland is styled with CSS, so it's extremely powerful. That's why my bar is able to do this, whereas something like Polybar is not able to. And then also, Wayland has Sway and See, which is the best notification daemon thing I've ever used, and it's also styled with CSS, so you can do some pretty crazy stuff. No. Actually, I would say the opposite. Wayland is lighter than Xorg because it doesn't have to do as much stuff. So, basically the way Xorg versus Wayland works is Xorg has... So, when you open an application, and this is just a very generalized, summarized explanation of how things work. When you open an application, it says to the X server, oh, hi. It says to the X server, hey, I want to draw a window. The X server draws the window for you and then sends it back to the client. And that's how you draw a window on Xorg. And there's a lot of history behind why that is. But on Wayland, what happens is you say, hey, I want to draw a window. And the client draws its own window. So there's no display server, per se, in Wayland, so that makes it slightly faster. Also, with ricing Wayland, you don't have to use something like PyCom. So like on i3, BSPWM, whatever, just name any Xorg window manager. Normally you would run the window manager, and then you would run PyCom on top of that to get your nice fancy effects like transparency and blur. But on Wayland, that's all built into the window manager. And FYI, on Wayland, window managers are actually called compositors. So, yeah. I did not have to install anything like PyCom. And so, yeah, so the less processes running, the lighter it is. That's, yeah. Same reason Linux is faster than Windows. Yeah. So, I've had experiences. So, I have 3 main machines that I use. You're welcome for the explanation. Of course, if you want to learn more about this, look it up. I just gave a very brief explanation. So, I have 3 main machines. I have my desktop, which... I'm on right now, and if you guys want to see my specs, I've got some pretty good specs. I've got this AMD Radeon RX 6900 XT, which is a pretty good GPU, one of the newer ones. I've got an AMD Ryzen 9 5900X 24. I'm not actually sure what this means. I'm not a hardware nerd, I'm a software nerd. But yeah, one of the newest CPUs too. And this is what gets a lot of people. I have, well, actually I have 128 gigs of RAM. This is in gigabytes, which is actually slightly different than gigabytes. 128 gigs. Yeah, so what you're seeing here, 125.68 gigabytes, that's equal to 128 gigabytes. It's slightly different. It's something to do with, don't quote me on this. I will have to research this some more. Yeah, so, if I'm not mistaken, gigabytes are base 2, and then gigabytes are base 10. Yeah, you have a point. You know, this brings up something funny. I always notice Windows users, like my brother, I can accuse of this. Also, Linux users who use stuff like Plasma or GNOME. One thing I know, like, as long as they have a taskbar or a dock or something that shows, like, their minimized applications and stuff, something I always notice is their computer slows down because they have, like, 15 different applications open but just minimized. And I don't understand this behavior. I just don't understand it. Like, when I'm done with a window, I either keep it open on a workspace or I outright just close it. And I don't understand what this behavior is. Like, my brother complains that his computer is slow and his games run slow, and then he goes ahead and blames it on Linux. And then, you know, he just has all this stuff minimized. I actually don't remember how I got into programming exactly, but my first language was Python. I think it's because I wanted to create a game, and actually, this is my game right here. It's inspired by Minecraft, but I actually have this old pictures video archive thing channel, and this is all screenshots from me actually implementing my game in Rust, since Rust is fast and I love it. Yeah, Windows behavior. So yeah, this is me doing some stuff in Rust. This is just some other screenshots and texturing and hello once again. But yeah, okay, let's see. This is actually me trying to make the game in Godot, which Godot is way too slow for what I wanted, ironically. But yeah, this is the last screenshot of the version of the game I was actually making in Python. And I'm so glad I stopped making it in Python, because Python is really slow. I have this video on my channel, actually, if you want to watch it. It's a work in progress introduction. Just like me showcasing the work in progress. I have some stuff in here. Yeah, I don't want to get too distracted. You just renamed yourself to A. Noise. What looks nice? Sorry. The game or the Discord server? Kind of jiggled around. Yeah. Anywho, back to programming. Also, nice, Alex, you fixed Helix. The colors, I assume, in Helix? Oh, the game, yeah. Yeah, thank you. I've been working on it for a little while. I can actually show you. I've stopped working on it currently because I'm trying to figure out how to use Bevy Renet or something better, just so I can get some early multiplayer infrastructure in, because one thing I learned is that you have to get, LSP and text highlighting, nice. One thing I learned is you have to get server code, you have to get the server stuff out of the way early on in the project, otherwise multiplayer is going to be almost impossible to implement. So far, I've just been trying to optimize chunking. This is what I have so far. And this is written in Rust using the Bevy game engine. I've got wireframe on because currently I have it off, but I've been trying to implement greedy meshing and vertex sharing. It's actually been a lot easier than I've expected. You just the hard part is getting the indices ordered correctly. But yeah, that's what I have so far. Yeah. All right, so what I'm gonna do. Oops. Let's try that again. This is bothering me. There we go. I'm gonna bump the version up here. This means I'm adding a new feature. So the way I'm implementing this version tag is if I change this. Thank you. The way I'm implementing this Dister version tag is this last number. If I change it, that means I like refactored the code, or something similar to that. And then if I change this second number here, that means I added a new feature. And if I change this first number, so like for example, when Dister 2.0 comes out, that means I like actually changed the functionality. So if people update from Dister 1.x.x, whatever they're running, but it's a 1-point release, if they update to a 2-point release, they're going to have to change stuff like scripts, and they're going to have to refactor their own stuff. I'm hoping not to hit a Dister 2.0. Ah, cool. Semantic versioning. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure this is how crates on crates.io version themselves. I know that, for example, if colored 3.0 comes out and I run the cargo update command on my project, it will not update to that version, but instead the latest 2-point release. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's just like a standard versioning in Rust. I've also been using clap to have this really nice command propagation system. So like, I have this really nice thing. If I run Dister without any valid commands, it will exit with the exit code 1, meaning it errored out. And I have this really nice thing where it says what the app is about, the usage, the commands that I have available. Some of these have sub-commands. It's really nice because all I had to do to do this is I made a file called cli.rs and just defined my commands, and any comments I did with 3 slashes instead of 2 actually get pulled into that thing. And this crate is called clap, if I forgot to mention that. But yeah, I just literally... I just define them here, and then they automatically get serialized and deserialized and generated. There's probably some awesome macro magic going on in the background. But yeah, and then all I had to do to execute upon this is in my main.rs file, I just had to import the clap parser struct. I had to... and then all I had to do was so this main function is actually not what I'm using as my main function. This is just so I'm using app as my actual main function. And if it returns exit code fail, it exits the program with exit code 1. So this app function acts like my main function. And in here, all I have to do to make sure the user passed in correct commands and stuff is say let args, so specifying an args variable, and then CLI parse. So parsing arguments. And then I just have to use a bunch of match statements, and it's beautiful. Like, this is, I'm probably going to go back, and when I have spare time on my hands and no projects to work on, I'm probably just going to go back to all my prior projects and swap out my manual command system for clap. It is so nice. So yeah. How many people are watching? Alright, cool. How many subscribers I have? I've been checking recently because I'm actually about to hit 1,000 subscribers. So 972. Very nice. Jukita. I keep seeing these random Hello, Jackson122. I get a lot of Minecraft on my suggestions page. This Jackson122, I have him on my Discord's contact list, and he got marked as spam for saying hi so many times. Minecraft has entered the chat. Also, hello, Histast. Oh, wow. How did that happen? We just went from 3 watchers to 6 watchers. Just doubled. That's awesome. I wonder... I remember I streamed at like 200 subscribers or something like that and only had 1 participant in the stream. Hello. I assume we have 7? No, 6. Huh. Cool. I wish YouTube allowed me to pop out multiple of these windows. I am building a program for, so if you are familiar with NixOS and how it does reproducibility, I am building a program that mimics that on any Linux distribution. So the way I install programs on my computer, so I'm using EndeavourOS, which is based on Arch Linux, but what I do is I go to my Dister configuration and I edit this file called gen.toml, and I specify all my programs in here, and I can do native packages, flatpaks, and crates. Yeah, it's a bit ambitious. It's actually kind of simple how it approaches this, though. Basically, the way it works is when you edit this file, you commit a generation, and what that does is it adds this, it adds an entry to this list. So, for example, when I added labwc in place, so Hyprland broke on my machine recently. I'm not really sure why. Like, I unplugged my monitor, then plugged it back into my graphics card, and tried to start Hyprland, and it just broke. And then I tried it later after a system update, and it worked again. I'm not really sure what happened there. But when I installed labwc to play around with it, when Hyprland was broken, the way I did it was I specified labwc and all the stuff that comes with in my gen.toml file, and then I ran the command dister gen commit Hyprland. Yeah, that's what Fraggle told me. Hyprland labwc. I ran this command, and it created this generation, the 19th generation, Hyprland to Lab WC. And what this does, so then what I would do is, what would happen is this current tag would be up here next to this generation. And my built tag would be like right here next to 18, because that's the generation I built before committing this one. And then what I'd do is run this command, which I actually have aliased to build-system. But I'd run this command, dister gen current build. And what that would do is if it successfully builds, like it would install, uninstall packages, do whatever. Yeah, Wine was originally made for Linux. What would happen is if that ran successfully, what I would do is actually compare the gen.toml file from 18 and 19 and make it into 19 and then add the build flag to this, and that's how it'd work. Yeah, so Jackson122. Yeah, that's a bit surprising that Wine's on Windows, considering Wine is a program that exists on Linux and Mac OS that translates Windows programs to work on those operating systems. So, for example, my brother, I'm not too happy about it, but and it's more personal opinion. But my brother got really into Roblox, and so his desktop, much to my dismay, it runs Windows 11. Much to my dismay, my brother's desktop runs Windows 11, but his laptop runs Linux, and he wanted to get Roblox working on Linux, and Roblox does not natively support Linux. It supports Mac OS and Windows. So the way we got Roblox working on his laptop is we installed a project called Grape Juice, and what that is basically a wrapper for Wine, and it installs the Windows version of Roblox on his Linux laptop. And what that would do is it would wrap around Wine with special arguments and stuff and get Roblox working on Linux. And it had all kinds of features that regular Roblox doesn't have. One thing that blew my mind is the fact that Grape Juice allowed you to switch the renderer from OpenGL to Vulkan. I don't want to disown my brother. I'm just disappointed in his choices. Obviously, because I'm a Linux user and I support the free software movement. Yada, yada, yada. And so whenever I see like someone using Windows 11, Windows 10, I always just kind of grimace. But yeah, it's actually kind of cool getting Grape Juice working. Gang Wars for Nerds. I guess you could say that. Yeah, I'm disappointed, that's all. I did, it's funny because, so, Roblox also, my brother goes to blame Linux for everything, when it's usually something like he's too lazy to do something. So, Grape Juice, Roblox, it works well on his laptop, but he has graphical issues with every single application on his laptop with Linux, and that is because he's too lazy to install the correct graphics drivers. Yeah, I mean, if it's a work PC, I guess it's not so bad. But yeah, if I work at a job somewhere where I have a work laptop, I'm definitely going to see what I can do about installing Linux on it. Yeah. What was I going to do again? Oh, are you talking to MH? Because I'm 14, so just sitting at home. I honestly, yeah. It's funny because I talk to all these Linux users who actually have Windows installed on half their hard drive, and I don't understand why. I actually do game on Linux with really no issues. Like, I really haven't had a single issue. And the Steam Deck's amazing. No. I'm 14. Actually, funny enough, I'm a very tall 14-year-old. I'm like 5'8" or something like that. And I learned that, I do Kung Fu, and I'm in the adult lesson, and I learned that people shorter than me, who I assumed to be around my age, are actually like 17, 18. So, my life is a lie. Yeah, I game perfectly fine on Linux. Yeah, I'm actually surprised. This is the only time I've seen NVIDIA actually win over AMD. Why are you a hater now? What, just because I'm 14? I mean, my dad is 6'4". My mom is pretty tall too. I don't really know her height. I think she's like 5'8" too. But my grandfather on my dad's side is even bigger than my dad. I would say he's like 6'7", give or take. His hands are huge and his feet are huge. Like, he could grab a basketball with one hand that's fully inflated, no sweat. And you know how they say genes sometimes skip a generation? I am probably gonna be taller than my dad. Also, I just realized I have steam in my tray. I'm gonna quit out of that real quickly. Something I don't understand is how people are able to live without a sys tray. Hello, banana. I am programming Dister. I think I told you about it. It's my reproducibility tool. Oof, your pictures thing. I'm sorry, but when I tried to... So the polybar system tray, so this is something I'm actually amazed. Waybar has an amazing system tray. Like, it's styled the same way as all the widgets. The icons in the sys tray never get bigger than other icons. It's just great. I can show you. So in the config directory for Dister, yeah, I opened actually an issue on EOS asking for a system tray. That was back when I was ricing on Xorg, but honestly, I don't need that now that Waybar has such an awesome system tray. Oh, the polybar tray is awful. It's awful. It's basically an overlay over your bar, and depending on your screen resolution, it can look really messed up. I hate it. I hate its guts. Anywho, back to the how Dister would work on other distributions that are not Arch. You'll see this gen.toml file. That's the actual generation, but then I also have this pkg_manager.toml file. And in this pkg manager file, I have these settings: install, and for me I set paru-s, and then this weird jumble right here, rns, syy, you know, the standard arch/paru commands. And then I have this additional configuration, and I have in here many pkg args. This basically says, like, hey, when we install all these programs, do we need to, like, for example, if I'm installing Git and Notepad QQ, do I need to say paru-s git and then paru-s Notepad QQ, or can I say paru-s git and Notepad QQ? This is what that setting does. And basically, so a lot of people seem to misunderstand this. You don't always have to over-engineer stuff. For compatibility's sake, I just did the simple way out. Basically, what this is, this hash : ? This gets replaced, like, this literally gets replaced with what you pass in the generation toml file. There's no fancy parsing, nothing like that. It's basically the same. If I were to explain this in bash scripts, it's basically the same as looping through all the packages you have in gen.toml. So basically a for I in that array, and then basically saying with the sed command, replace this jumble with I. That's all it's doing, basically. And then it also gets more complicated when you introduce this option, but yeah, that's basically all this is doing. Ooh. Is it back up? Yeah, I got a notification saying that the stream died. It's back up. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Good, good. Yeah, I got a notification from OBS saying, like, it disconnected, then reconnected. So yeah, I hope you guys understood the package manager explanation. It's honestly what people seem to not understand. I'm not sure. What I did is I literally just did the stupid mode. I went to my settings in OBS and changed the theme. Damn, bro, that's smart as thank you. Oh, oops. Where? Oh, shoot. This is why I hate having, like, this floating window that I need to manage with chat in it. Is sometimes I leave it on workspaces that I don't mean to leave it on, and it gets annoying. Like, some guy was telling me about Ferdy, but apparently the guy behind Ferdy unalived himself. So, that's sad. Use special workspaces, like icons. The thing about that is it looks nice. I'm not really sure what you mean by that. I think you mean by icons. The thing with that is it looks nice, but the reason I don't do it, Oh, for floating window. A special workspace. I'm not sure I quite understand. Is it like a keep on all workspaces type of thing? Because that would be pretty cool. Alright, see ya, Alex Her. Oh, kind of like Scratchpad. I'm not really familiar with Scratchpads. I've never had to use them. I know the Linux cast swears by them, but I don't really see how they're all that useful. Again, it's kind of like the Windows mentality. Like, you have all these minimized stuff, and it's minimized for no reason. It's kind of the same with Scratchpads. Like, you just have this terminal running in the background, and either, like, for me, I just close my terminal when I'm done with it, or I just keep it on another workspace so I know to close it later before I turn off my computer. And at maximum, I'd say usually I only use like 2, 3, maybe 4 workspaces. The Linux cast, I think, uses like 19, which is absolutely crazy. Alright, so implementing this imports feature into Dister might be kind of look in Discord. Dang it, I did it again. Hover that window. Yeah, that's nuts. 25 workspaces, that's nuts. If you go beyond 10 workspaces, I'm gonna call you nuts. Like, yeah, that's crazy. Okay, so this terminal is on every workspace? How'd you do that? Also, if any of you guys want to join my Discord server, or my Element server, my now abandoned Revolt server, you can actually find all the links to my stuff on my website. I've been pointing people to my website because it allows me to change links on the whim in case I need to. Let me try this. I'm gonna try this. Thank you for the command. Dang it. Okay. Alright. How am I gonna do this? So, what if I sleep 3 and so now hover over this window. That's a little broken. I'm not really sure what happened. What just happened? Yeah, now my whole screen is blurry. And then if I close that, it's fine. That's so weird. Huh. That's really weird. Yeah, if I can do this move to special workspace would think... So, I watch YouTube videos while programming. I don't understand why it helps me focus, but I watch YouTube videos while programming, and I use the picture-in-picture mode. And it's the same thing, just like this chat window. I have to maintain what workspace it's on. It's pretty annoying. Hello, Yami Strix. So let me try that again, but tile the window. Yeah, so I watch channels like Thoughty2 and I've actually been watching Dr. Mike. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this window rule thing later. Thank you for that command, though. I'm actually gonna pin it in the Discord server, because that's kind of cool. Pin. See pinned messages. Ah, yes. The drog. This is from a joke about VI. Pinned messages. I'm actually looking at Spotify alternatives because I am a Spotify user and my mom pays for it, so I might as well. And I'm looking at things like there's this thing, if I can spell it right, Porsmo. Cargo. Oh, NC Spot. Yeah, it's a Spotify client written in Rust, and it's for your terminal, which is super cool. But yeah, like, it's super... Did you find a workaround for using Bevy on NixOS? There is a workaround, but yeah, so... you have to make like a shell.nix file. It's Velu sent me it. Yeah, it's like a shell.nix file, and it's basically you run nix-shell in the project directory, and it reads shell.nix and installs all the dependencies to run the program. And you have to install like a bunch of libx stuff. You have to set some environment variables. So yeah, you can get Bevy working on NixOS, but I honestly couldn't figure out how to get shell.nix to actually work. It just kept crashing. It couldn't find libx cursor, even though I installed it. Really weird stuff. But anywho, that's, I moved back to EndeavorOS, so that's actually why I'm making this tool called Dister. Also, admittedly, I know how to write package builds, but not Nix packages, and I actually use a lot of my own software. So, I also just missed the process of making package builds. So honestly, Arch just makes sense. I'm told e-builds on Gen 2 are a lot like package builds. And if any of you... Hello, Big Ounce. If any of you are interested and you're running Arch Linux, if you want to use any of the software that I've made, I've actually created an Arch Linux software repo with all my stuff in it. And I actually have some cool stuff in here. Like, I have this dmenu to Rofi script, and this is just like simple binary bash script replacements for dmenu, where when you call dmenu, it calls the, so I can show you, like, for example, dmenu_run, it calls Rofi instead. Okay. So I've got the dmenu to Rofi script, and then I've also got this tool called Flat Tools, which I'll probably make a video about in the future. It's Yeah, so Flat Tools is a tool that makes Flatpaks actually easy to use from the terminal. Dister is a tool for bringing NixOS-like reproducibility to other Linux distributions. Of course, it won't be as flawless because NixOS has more power over the distribution itself. But I've gotten the basics down. Like, I've got it so you can set your packages in there. So if you have like multiple machines, you can sync your installed packages, which is the main reason I decided to use NixOS in the first place. But now I'm on EndeavourOS. So a demonstration of what Flat Tools is what? So I have a Flatpak called WhatIP. I just use this. I don't know why I use this. It's actually just a habit from when I started using Linux. But it's basically a tool that gives you IP information. It probably shouldn't show that. Although it's fine. I've got a firewall up. Yeah, it's fine. You can't really do much with that information. What kind of friend is this? How knowledgeable are they in programming? What programming language do they use? That could be said for any compiled language, though, that it's blazingly fast. So your friend uses C. So what you could say is Rust is memory safe. It's thread safe too. So you can multi-thread in it without any problems as well. Its compiler is strict, so it's very hard to make mistakes in Rust. And it's got zero cost abstractions because the way it works is instead of using a garbage collector, it uses a borrow checker. So there's no memory leaks or anything like that. And then it's also it's got this the way it works with structs. Basically, its type system is utter magic. For example, error handling in Rust. So, you know, like, if I do an example here. If I create this struct, no, actually I'll create a main function. It's, Rust also has, yeah, Rust has its own package manager, so creating projects with external libraries is super easy, and managing those libraries is even easier. Rust also has beautiful syntax. So for example, if I were to open a file, and of course if I were to do it like this, I'd have to do use stdfs. If I were to open a file, the way you would handle the error is, so the dumb way is you could do fs file open, and of course, like, you could load this file into a variable. Yeah, so let's just say I wanted to open /etsy/sddm.conf. I'm not sure. Just any file on my file system. The way you would handle errors is use this data type called the result struct. It's a struct. built into Rust. And you could use this method called unwrap. And this basically crashes your program if it errors out. So the smart way how you're supposed to handle these errors is yourself with a match statement. And what this does, and I can demonstrate this, so basically all the result data type is it's literally just this basically. And I'm not really sure how to define generics in Rust since I really haven't had to. I think the way you do it is you actually put it after the name. Yeah, like that. And this can be any type. So the way you specify this, and then you also have like an error type too. And you have these two states, so OK, and OK can hold the T value, and error can hold the, oh, oops, it's an enum, sorry, an enum. And the error type can hold the E data type. And basically what this does is when you define a function, so like a function that can have errors upon running, so like my function, you can return this result data type and specify the data types it can return. So like, for example, this function, perhaps it doesn't return any data. So if it did, like if it returned a string, I could do string, and then I could do IO error. And of course, if I did IO error, I'd have to do stdio, or import the entire, like just say stdio error. And basically what this does is if the program executes flawlessly, it's like, let's just say this program doesn't return anything. Yeah, that's me. I don't really use Reddit, so I haven't really changed my username. How'd you find out? Yeah, I made a few Unix porn posts. Yeah, so actually, I think on my Unix porn post I was using a different wallpaper. This wallpaper that you're seeing right now is actually a wallpaper I made in Blender. I can actually show you the .blend file if you want. Oh. Bear with me as the chat disappears for a second. For whatever reason on Wayland, Blender covers every single window on the workspace it's on. So just deal with me for a second. This wrong blend file. In my home directory, or okay, right here, I have this Grovebox abstract Hyprland wallpaper, and this is what I'm using. And it's got these layers, and if I go into rendering mode, you can kind of see like I made these layers, and then the Hyprland logo, and when you match it all together, you get that. And yeah, so I made this wallpaper in Blender. It's really freaking simple. Like if I go to, oh crap, what did I do? If I go to the shader editor for the like Swiss cheese material thing, all it's doing is it has the material output, and it has a mix shader, it has a transparent BSDF, and a principled BSDF. So where there's no material, that's a transparent BSDF, and where there is material, so like the white, blue, orange, purple, green, you know, it's a principled BSDF. This is like the generic material. And then I have this noise texture and this color ramp, and this color ramp is a sharp cut. And basically, wherever the black is, it will use one material. Wherever the white is, it will use another material. And that's how I just made this simple little effect. And then I actually have the color in the emissions and not the base color. for lighting purposes. Yeah, I have a capuchin version of this wallpaper because I actually originally I made this wallpaper for Zany because he was using Hyprland, so I made this wallpaper for Zany, and he used it. Also, don't tell him, but the capuchin version that I made for him is off center by a few pixels. Yeah, sure. I hope you don't mind it's off-center by just a few pixels. It's not really that big of a deal, but... let's see. Dev. Blender projects. No, it's in wallpapers. Color scheme, capuchin, custom, capuchin macchiato. I didn't off-center it on purpose. I'm actually kind of new to Blender. I'm not a Blender pro, so. But yeah, this is the capuchin version I originally made for Zany. Just a simple recolor. Also, what's with all these people, like, renaming themselves to P ... Is bright? Yeah, see, don't we all hate NVIDIA? I mean, honestly, Hyprland doesn't work all that bad on NVIDIA if you use Hyprland-NVIDIA. Also, I'm gonna mute for a second. Alright, I'm back. I think my dad is trolling. How bright? Yes, it's bright. I'm very much on par with the DT philosophy of ricing, DistroTube philosophy, where if you have a dark themed rice, like for example, this Waybar, I'm so stuffed up. Hey, if you're considering moving to Texas, don't. So this Waybar, it's a dark color. And so I made this light wallpaper, so it's a nice contrast. The NVIDIA or the wallpaper? Because this wallpaper is a 4K wallpaper. Oh, what did I just do? Okay, there we go. Yeah, Blender, the power, especially for someone who makes rices, the power to just make your own wallpaper. Huh. Yeah, I use SWWW. Because it has, like, fancy transitions and stuff. It really isn't. Like, here, I can... hold on. What do I have open on my workspaces? Can close this. I can give you a quick rundown of Blender. Basically, when you open... So, sorry, I won't be responding to chat for a little while, considering Blender has this Wayland issue. So when you open Blender for the first time, and you want to 3D model, click on General on this welcome screen. And then you move around, you rotate around with your middle mouse button. And you select stuff with your left mouse button. But like drag select. You can also just select with your left mouse button. You zoom in and out with Control and middle mouse button drag, kind of like how you rotate, just with the Control hit down. And you can also just jitter zoom out with the scroll wheel. You pan with Shift middle mouse button. So basically, middle mouse button along with Control or Shift is your navigation. It's how you navigate in Blender. And then you can delete an object with either the delete key to immediately delete it, or you can delete it with X, and it will ask for confirmation. You can add an object with Shift A, and then the object you want to add, so this cube. And then you can, and then if I add modifiers, so actually add a modifier. I'll give it the bevel modifier because this is a good modifier to demonstrate this on. If I bevel this slightly. So, I have this beveled cube. And watch when I scale this cube. So I'm going to scale with the S key. And I can scale like this. Or I can scale on a specific axis by clicking either X, Y, or Z. And in Blender, X and Y are your side axes, and Z is up and down. So let me scale up on the X-axis. And as you can see, now this bevel looks really messed up. This is because you need to apply scale. So if I Control A, I can apply all transforms, which is useful. This is what I do, is just apply all the transforms. But if you click Apply Scale, as you can see, it fixes the modifier. Because basically what happens... Okay, the stream disconnected then reconnected. Is everything back up? I hope so. It should be. So the way this works is Blender, the native modifiers act upon the native geometry of the object, and then stuff like scaling and rotating and stuff like that, it's all applied to the object. So like for example, if I press N, I have this side menu. If I scale this object again on the X-axis, as you can see, the values in the side menu change. But when I apply the transforms and stuff, it actually becomes part of the shape. It's a bit hard to explain, but you start understanding once you start actually using Blender. And then you can go into render mode with this render button. And the way I make my renders look really nice is instead of using Eevee, I use cycles. And I use my GPU. And yeah. This obviously looks ugly because I'm not trying to make a beautiful scene. And then you can also change the world color too, to change the ambient light. But yeah, that's just like a stupid simple Blender rundown. And if you want to know the secret to learning something new really quickly, alright, see ya, Big Ounce. If you want to learn something super quickly, the trick to doing it is you have to you have to basically learn the basics. So like what I showed you, just learn that. And then learn stuff as you need to learn it. So like, for example, learn about modifiers when you actually need to learn about modifiers. And that helps your brain stick to that information when you actually need to use that information. If you don't need to use it, your brain kind of just forgets about it. That's the secret to how I've been able to learn stuff really quickly. Also, is the stream still running? Looks like it. Let him cook. Dun, 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 Danny, dun, dun. Breaking Bad is such a good show. I'm actually in the middle of watching Better Call Saul. Do 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 do. Do. Anywho, back to programming. One Piece. One Piece is completely different. That's an anime. Bitter corn salt. Yeah. Oh, crap. Alright, is my stream back up? Something keeps happening. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna suggest EndeavorOS just because it's based on Arch, so you get the newest packages, and EndeavorOS has this awesome welcome app, and maybe I got the notification, but EndeavorOS has a daemon that occasionally, when it like senses 10 plus updates waiting to happen, it will notify you, hey, like, Pac-Man has 128 updates ready for you to install. Do you want to install them? And you just click on the notification to update your system. EndeavorOS has a lot of really nice features. Like if I run the EOS welcome app with the -- once flag so it doesn't start up on startup, it has some nice utilities. So like, for example, if I move to a different country and I don't want to reinstall Linux, I can click these options to reset my mirrors to a different location that's faster. I can, yeah, it's really new user friendly, but it's also not only user friendly. Like, it's good for new users and experienced users. I could totally just install Gentoo and use that. Like, I'm an experienced user, I know what I'm doing, but it's just nice to have some of these utilities. I don't get how it hits. Hello. Yeah, I think people don't like... People call EndeavorOS pointless, and I think the reason that is because they expect it to be like this whole new distribution. But really all it is, and like all it's supposed to be, is EndeavorOS is basically Arch, but it installs some of the boilerplate. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, I think people don't like Endeavor because they think it's supposed to be this all new distribution, but really all it is Arch with a graphical live environment and the Calamaris installer, extra options for nerds in the installer. It installs packages for you that you'd normally manually install on Arch. It adds the EndeavourOS repository. Yeah, EOS is like Arch with a GUI for everything. Which, not exactly true. Like, when you say that, people are going to expect, oh, there's like a ton of GUI utilities on Endeavour, but really there's only one, maybe two. And that would be the welcome screen and maybe some derivatives of the welcome screen that pop up when you click some of the buttons. Funny you say that. Garuda is actually the first Arch-based distribution I've ever used. Like, I remember I installed Garuda Linux just out of curiosity, and I just couldn't stop saying I use Arch, by the way. If I go to my channel... Yeah, Garuda Linux is really good, but the problem I have with it, why I stopped using it, is because it comes with KDE pre-installed. And I like installing my own window managers, so I like Endeavour because EndeavourOS, though it comes with an XFCE live environment, in the installer you can actually say to install no desktop environment, which is really cool. So if I go to my videos, you guys are going to see a little bit of video footage from my channel. I hope I don't copyright strike myself. Yeah. Yeah, Linux, the best way to learn about computers is to install something like Linux. Like, even if you're a normal user and you just want to get along with your day, like, even if you install something like Ubuntu, you're gonna learn the basics of computers that actually make using a computer fun. If I pause, it's because I'm eating something. My dad brought me some apples, kiwis, and bananas, so, yeah. Thank you, Papa. What, plangs? I don't know what you mean by that. Anywho, you said, like, I should try Garuda. I've actually used Garuda for a while. This is an old video of mine where I actually... programming languages. I use Rust, and pretty much only Rust. Sometimes I use Bash, but I don't really call that a programming language. This is a video... Yeah, I have 128 gigs of RAM. I upgraded
my computer.
This is a really old video. It's actually one of my most disliked videos. But yeah, this is when I upgraded from 32 gigs of RAM to 128 gigs of RAM. Don't ask why. I just felt like it. But yeah, in the video, I actually do use Garuda. So like, here I am showing off NeoFetch. Yeah, for an early video where I made this with like 50, 100 subscribers, it's not a bad video.
Very awesome upgrade.
I think you guys can hear the audio.
Yeah,
And yeah, my voice is a lot lighter in this video.
Goodbye. Bye-bye. I use Arch, by the way.
That's my favorite part of the videos when I did the cutscene. I use Arch, by the way. Who, me? A better CPU? I've got a good CPU. My brother has a better CPU than mine, but that's because he built his desktop after me. We went to Micro Center to get all that. Void. I have tried to install Void. It did not work. All right. No, I do not freelance. Okay, Banana, thank you for clarifying. Streaming on Hyprland with 32:9 monitor, asking for a friend. Not sure. The only time I've used two displays, the only time I use two displays is I plugged one of my laptops into a TV at my step-grandparents' house and had an N64 controller and just played some N64 games on that. And I was actually using Hyprland. Which, Hyprland actually has some surprising features for game emulation. I know this sounds weird, but like, Simple 64, which is the N64 emulator I use, actually worked really well on Hyprland for whatever reason. Yeah, Banana, I don't know if I can answer your question. Again, I'm not a hardware nerd, I'm a software nerd. I don't know what HyperDot is. Yeah, I don't even know how to connect two monitors to my PC. I just know how to connect one. I don't really know what the difference between soft nerds and hard nerds is. Nerds are nerds. Wine offers 64-bit support. Also, there's Proton. Just use Proton if you're going to game on Linux. Proton is basically Steam's fork of Wine. And, like, you know it's good if Proton is being used to run Windows games on the Steam Deck, which is a handheld device created by Steam, so Valve. Steam, one of the biggest gaming platforms in the world. You know it's good if they're using it on their Linux-based handheld. Alright, good night, Music X Music. Yeah, I don't use, I've only used other people's dots once. I always make my own rice from scratch. Maybe take some lines of code from other people's dot files here and there if I'm stuck. But, like, I always make my rices from scratch because I always feel accomplished. Same reason I make my own programs. The the only time I've used someone else's rice is when I used when I used the Linux casts. It was like speedrunning ricing Qtile, and that was the first time I've ever used a tiling window manager is Qtile, and I used his rice and basically modified that. And actually, you can find the video on my YouTube channel. It's called My First Qtile Rice. And it's basically a heavily modified version of the Linux cast's rice. So yeah. When I say heavily modified, I really just modified the config py file. The look is still pretty much the same. But yeah, I always cringe when watching my old rice videos, my Qtile rice, because that's when I didn't realize that color schemes existed. So it's like, I took the Linux cast's Capuchin rice, and then I added some random wallpaper on top with a terminal theme that wasn't Capuchin at all. And it just looked super weird now that I actually know what a color scheme is. Mission Center. And I actually installed it via Pacman. Oh, no. Aditya. Hey, quick question, Aditya. And you probably aren't, but are you the creator of Archcraft? And yeah, to answer your question, I'm making a tool for bringing NixOS-like reproducibility to any Linux distribution. It's called Dister. But yeah, I forgot the... Yeah. You both have the same first name. So that's what I'm wondering. Eyüp Yorulamaz. I am on Hyprland. So, yeah, I'm using Wayland. Fun. And that comes with all these cool features, like, for example, this program called SwayNC gives me a notification tray. I am probably not going to use DWL or DWM. I'm not that kind of person. Like, it's the same reason I'm using EndeavourOS and not Vanilla Arch, is I want some of this stuff to be done for me, but not to the point where I'm basically being spoon-fed. Like, the fact that you have to apply a patch to DWM to add things like, for example, moving a window around with hotkeys is, I think, kind of dumb. Like, it's just dumb. And then DWL, the problem facing DWL is some of these, well, most of these DWM patches are not going to work on DWL. It's because I studied German for about 5 years, and still I don't know how to speak German, but I do know how to pronounce umlauts, so yeah. Yeah, Apple users. Good morning. Well, for me, it's evening now, but yeah, good morning. Yeah, I gave up on NixOS. I just didn't want to do all this workarounds. And I think the problem is NixOS is ahead of its time. Like, you have this really annoying, old, stupid standard called FHS, and a lot of apps use it, but NixOS, due to how immutability works, cannot support FHS. And gaming on Wayland is actually amazing. It's faster than Xorg from what I've seen, from what I've experienced. The reason I know Wayland is faster than Xorg, actually dramatically faster, is I have this $200 HP laptop with a Celeron in it, and I run Hyprland on it, and it's been, like, I want to say 10 times faster. What task manager? That thing you saw earlier is called Mission Center. I saw it in a Linux cast, the Linux cast video, and if you want to install it on Arch, it's in the AUR, and I believe how did I install it? Mission Center. Huh. Is this like a... Oh. This is actually one of the reasons I'm using imports. I'm gonna implement imports. So, yeah, Mission Center. If you want to install it, it's in the AUR, I believe. You could just install it with paru-s mission center. It's actually written in Rust, which is really cool. Yeah, so I probably should get back to coding. Oh yeah, you're welcome. I actually use a lot of programs written in Rust on my computer. Like, for example, Alacrity, which is my terminal emulator, is written in Rust. Helix, which is actually my Vim-like text editor I'm using right now, which is also a lot like Cocoon. It's written in Rust. I'm programming in Rust. I use Dister. I use my own software, which is written in Rust. This shebang that appears when I open up a terminal that's randomized. This is a program I wrote called Semantic, which is written in Rust. I use a lot of Rust. Nice. Yeah, get this. I checked my YouTube analytics, and I'm not sure if this is still relevant, because I checked this a while ago, but, like, 50% of my viewers are from India. No, my laptop is not covered in Rust. My System 76 laptop is brand new, basically, so it has an aluminum chassis, but it's not covered in Rust. And then my $200 HP Stream 11 with the Celeron CPU, its chassis is plastic. And I've actually got to admit that HP Stream 11 $200 laptop is one of the nicest laptops I've ever used. Like, it sounds weird, but it's small, portable, light. It actually feels really nice to hold. It's surprisingly satisfying for its price. Alright, so the tough part about implementing imports, and it's probably not going to be that tough, but basically the way I did this is as you can see here, so it reads that gen.toml file in the configuration directory, and then it also reads another EndeavourOS user, awesome. Very nice. And then I also have this machine-specific gen.toml that also gets extended onto this red generation. So that's how like I install my graphics drivers for each machine with Dister. And they all have different GPUs. My System 76 laptop and my desktop both use an AMD GPU, and my Celeron laptop uses an Intel GPU. I have tried Archcraft. It's a really good distribution, but I personally don't use it because it's I don't know how to word it. It's like set up for me in such a tight, integrated way where I'm scared I'm gonna break something if I try to install like a different thing on top of it or try and uninstall something. It's a full experience. It's, dare I say, Ubuntu in a way where we're like, OpenSUSE. Ubuntu, like, it's a full experience. It has a desktop environment. All the apps are integrated with each other. Archcraft is like that, but with window managers. It's all integrated, and, like, for me, I install EndeavourOS without a desktop environment, and then I install all my stuff on top of that. Also, EndeavourOS has its update notifier, which saves my butt a lot, so. Also, cool, OpenSUSE. There are two main reasons I do not use OpenSUSE. One, Zipper is really slow. It doesn't have parallel downloads. It just feels really sluggish. I also couldn't find stuff like Alacrity in the repositories. And two, the community behind OpenSUSE is not really I have met a lot of racist people in the community, and it's like the elementary OS community. Wofi. Yeah, I just use Rofi Wayland. Because Wofi is like a completely different thing. People say Wofi is like a fork of Rofi for Wayland, but it feels more like a rewrite. Honestly, I would just recommend Rofi Wayland. I have heard that people have issues with Wofi, though. My chair is creaky. Alright, so if I were to do imports, the way I'd need to do it... Dang, I don't want to make this too complicated, but like the way I'd have to do this is I would have to... What type of notification bar are you using? Notification bar. I don't quite understand that question, but just to make sure I answer it, my bar is waybar, and then my notification tray is sway NC, sway notification center. Why would you need secure boot? Here's how I see secure boot. Secure boot should literally translate to Microsoft only boot. What the heck is Chad WM? Yeah, my notification tray is Sway Notification Center. And it also is my notification daemon too. So, like for example, I can toggle my tray with Sway NC-client-T. that's how I toggle it. And then my notifications are also handled by SwayNC. So like I'm not using Dunst or anything. I'm completely just using SwayNC for all my notification needs. And so like it shows up here, and then I can clear all my notifications. So yeah, that's what I'm using for all my notification related stuff. And then for my widgets, I'm using ew. So I'm using ew for my widgets. And then I'm using ew for my power menu. Chad W. Oh. Huh. Interesting. Dad WM. Now that's what I think when I see DWM. Thank you. And like CWM. Imagine if, yeah. Alright, so here's how I'm thinking I would implement imports. I don't want to think about this too much, but basically what I'm thinking is it will, so this is why I want to make sure I'm doing this correctly, is it's importing two generations into each other. So I want to loop through both their imports. And I think I can actually do that considering this gets extended onto here. And that's actually something I forgot to do. I forgot to implement into the extend function. So I'll copy this and there. And I'll extend the imports. This is something that I need to, I wish I knew how to make this even more seamless with macros. Not really. Programming is my life interest. I want to be a programmer when I grow up, stuff like that. It's also been what I've been able to pick up the easiest. I might get into 3D modeling. Yeah, I'm using Gruvbox. It's slightly modified. Like, for example, my widgets up here, the underline is a custom color that I used based on the base color. And this bar isn't using the designated background color just because I thought it was a little bit too poopy. Hyprland actually just works with multiple monitors. It's actually kind of crazy. Like, for example, with Xorg, if I plug in an external monitor, the resolutions are all messed up, workspaces are all over the place, and I have to use this script that I wrote called Simple XRender Window Manager Fix, or SXRWMF, and that fixes it, but it's a script that I had to write, and it's like 90 lines long. Hyprland just works. Like, if I plug Hyprland into a second monitor, it just automatically fixes itself. It's kind of crazy. I'm actually not sure if Hyper does the same. I haven't really messed. Oh, well, okay, so the way Hyprland works is it designates a workspace for each monitor. So like if I plug in a second monitor, workspace 1 will be on this monitor, but workspace 2 will be on the other monitor. It's a bit confusing, but it actually feels pretty good to use. And it does kind of depend on the window manager, but the overall universal behavior I noticed is when plugging in a monitor with a different resolution, it's all messed up. So I created this script that's on Codeberg because I've yet to move it to GitLab. Hold on. Codeberg.org/ogler12/ simple XRender window manager fix. I wrote this program, and this is the script, It's 131 lines long. And here's the wiki for it. Yeah, Qtile, I'm not a huge fan of Qtile. But yeah, this is the wiki for simple xrender window manager fix, and this is what I use to fix those second displays. It's a very, 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 very simple script, but it works flawlessly, so. And the reason it's on Codeberg is because I've never had to go back to Xorg. What is left WM? I've yet to try it out. I forget what the window manager written in Rust is called. Who is? Oh, left double. Yeah. 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 If it gets a Wayland version, I'll definitely try it out. I also took a look at River WM. I decided not to try it because automatically, if your window manager uses the i3 way of configuration, like a configuration file that uses the same language as i3, I'm immediately going to chuck it out the window. I don't use LF. Whenever I need to use a file manager, I just use Thunar, or I just use the terminal. I have a program that has definitely saved my butt on my $200 laptop since it only has 64 gigs of storage, and it's called NCDU, and this allows me to see the biggest files on my disk, and I'm able to delete them if I don't need them. So, like, for example, you can see .var has .var is 36 gigabytes in my home directory, and that's the biggest thing in my home directory. So, like, I can go in here and I can see what's taking up all this storage. Oh, the Flatpak version of Steam, I don't need that because I don't use the Flatpak version of Steam. I don't use GNOME boxes, so I can delete that. I use Prism Launcher because I do play a little bit of Minecraft. GD Launcher, I don't need that. Bottles, I don't use it. I don't know why I even have that. I don't need that. Velorin Airshipper, I definitely need that because I play some Velorin. Yeah, so I'm just able to clean up my stuff with NCDU. Herbs does the same with one workspace per monitor, as you mentioned, and if I'm on the main monitor, I switch to dummy theme. Yeah, I think that's slightly different. Basically, like, in Hyprland, if Workspace 1 is monitor 1 and Workspace 2 is monitor 2, the way you actually move your cursor to monitor 2 is by going to Workspace 2. That's how it works. Also, did you guys know that apparently KDE actually fixed Discord screen sharing on Wayland? Really weird stuff. I've heard that people just use WebCord, or the browser version of Discord actually works with Wayland screen sharing if your browser supports it. Because browser Discord just literally uses your browser. That's how I screen share on Discord, on Wayland. Good night. Alright, good night. I'm actually surprised at how many people there are in this stream for a channel my size. Alright, I should implement this imports for I in generations generation.imports.iter let igen. I am working on a Dister, which is that tool for bringing NixOS-like reproducibility to any Linux distribution. I could actually send the link. It is a usable tool. Like, you can use it. It has stable releases, and I use it daily. If you want to use it, here's the link to the GitLab. You can also just add, if you use Arch Linux, you can add my Arch software repository through your pacman.conf. The instructions are in the README. And just do sudo pacman-s dister. Although, one caveat is Dister won't really work flawlessly unless you use it on a fresh install. Just because, like, if you don't do all your applications through Dister, it might feel a little odd. Like you're trying to fit something over something that you already customized. Well, Dister will work regardless, but you're going to have to add all your programs and reinstall them through Dister, which is no big deal, but it might be a little annoying if you already got your workflow set up. Let igen equal match read to gen. You're welcome. Format. Alright, so here's how I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to have, so my Dister config, I have these files. My gen.toml, my machines file for my machine-specific gen files, my package manager toml file. Don't treat your laptop like that. It deserves so much more. Oh, you want the history behind the Oglo the Nerd name. So, when I was about 6 years old, I came up with my nickname, which is Oglo Uglu Agla. And my Minecraft username is OgloMC, so like this. And then my YouTube channel was initially called OgloMC because I actually started uploading Minecraft content back when I was still using Windows and stuff. And all those videos I actually unlisted because I kept getting comments on them and I didn't want people subscribing because of my Minecraft videos. And so I renamed my channel from OgloMC to Oglo the Nerd. So that's basically the history. And actually, if you wanted to send me an email, my email address is oglougluagla@tutanota.com. I should probably get a new email, but yeah. That's, yeah. So, yeah, there is history behind Oglo. I think the way I'm going to approach these imports is I'm going to create a new directory called imports, and then whatever is specified will be inside of imports. So, like, for example, in Discord, Goblin Goglo. In Discord. What is this? Ignore first if part, if special. Okay, this thing basically. If hyperctl active window JQR workspace ID equals 0 negative 99, then huh. Yeah, I'll have to look at this script later so I can fully understand it. Got it. Cool. I just learned something about Hyprland that I had no idea about. HyperCTL is super cool. Hyprland is a lot like BSPWM in that regard. Is that BSPC is on BSPWM and Hyprland has HyperCTL. Yeah. Alrighty. Who joined the Discord? Oh yay, some more people. Nice. Yeah, see, since Waybar uses CSS, you can do a lot more with Waybar. It's been pretty good battery-wise. Since Wayland takes a lot less resources than Xorg, it's actually been better than Xorg. Like, if you want something light, like, this is one of those myths that I just have to debunk. People say that if you want something lightweight, go with i3. But if you want something pretty and beautiful, go with Hyprland. People actually say this, and I say to them, no, use Hyprland. i3 is actually heavier than Hyprland because it's using Xorg. Like, you have to run PyCom and all these, the display server. Like, Wayland has no PyCom. Wayland has no display server, so it's just a lot faster. A lot more performant. Also, FYI, if you did not already switch, so if you're an Exa user, go ahead and switch to Eza. So instead of Exa, use Eza. It's because Exa seems to be a dead project, so Eza is a community-run fork. What did you do Exa Eza. How long do you think will it take Hyprland to be as stable? I would say Hyprland is pretty stable. I've only had it break once, and that was because of a WLR commit that was faulty. But other than that, I think the only other issue with Hyprland I've had is since Hyprland is not afraid to break a few configuration options to improve the project, I did have to move all my blur settings around in my configuration file, but that was super easy, and I was done with that in just a few minutes. So, really, Hyprland has been one of the best experiences I've ever had, to be honest. Also, i3 just kind of sucks. Like, sorry if you're an i3 fan, but the configuration is awful. The manual tiling gets old after a while, and from what I can tell, i3 doesn't have one of those things like HyperCTL or BSPC. That's kind of to be expected, though, since i3 is a really old window manager. usage demo in Discord. Shoot, I did it again. I moved the wrong window. Let's see this. Okay. Ah, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so this is, do I have to add this as a configure? So you were talking about window rules. Do I have to add a thing that like removes blur from Alacrity, or does the script do that? Because, yeah, this is really useful. I could definitely see myself using this a lot. Oh, to not blur special workspace. I see. Can you send an example of that? Like a screenshot of how you did that in your Hyprland config? Just want to see how you did it. Yammy Strix. The only thing that holding me back from holding me back from Wayland is the fact that I have 2 machines with NVIDIA. Honestly, if you install the Hyprland-NVIDIA package, or you're like using NixOS and you install Hyprland with the NVIDIA patches, it actually works well. Like Banana here, Banana is using Hyprland and he's also using NVIDIA. So. Okay. Alrighty. Cool. Alright, so I gotta decide how I want to alright, so what I'm actually gonna do is back up my Dister stuff. So I'm just gonna rename this stuff so then I can just flip around, move Dister, just renaming it so that there's no conflicts. That's fine. Dister setup, Dister init config. I'm also gonna copy. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cd into Dister. I'm gonna hx package manager.toml, remove all this crap. And then I'm gonna, the animations. Oh yeah, I think I mentioned earlier, I actually wrote my own animation code for Hyprland. Because Hyprland allows you to configure animations by just inputting the information for a 3D Bezier curve. So right now I'm just configuring my dummy package manager toml file just for testing. So now, if I just, I'll move this to a different workspace. If I hx config dister, dang it, why can't I type all of a sudden? Alright, so I'm gonna uncomment git this. This. Nah, I won't bother with crates just because I don't want to recompile a ton of stuff. I write exit, it's just a habit, honestly. There's really no reason. I just write exit. Sometimes I use super Q, but I just like writing exit. I don't know why. Dister gen commit, and as tradition, every time I test Dister and I make a test commit, I always call it soupcan. This actually comes from TF2 Demo Man when he says soupcan. So now if I Dister gen list, yeah, Dister gen current build. Yeah, so now as you can see, I get this notification that says install and then git, because that's what I configured in Package Manager. Yeah, my borders, I guess you could say they're big, but I like them like this. It's easy to see. I like big stuff. I don't understand like people with their eeny weeny tiny whiny borders and their tiny bars where they can barely see the stuff. Like, I believe my bar is 40 pixels tall. Something. Maybe more. It's debatably a big bar. But I like it. Maybe you could say it's because I'm from Texas, which is known for making everything big. But yeah, I like my stuff big. Like, I know that if I used my terminal like a normal person, I'd be like this zoomed out, and this is how big my terminal font would be, but personally I like it more zoomed in, like this. Personal preference, I guess. So now I got to make imports. So here's what I'm thinking. HX. There will be an import section up here. So who's still watching? It's coming to one of those times where the stream is beginning to die off. So here's what I'm thinking. You can say like, what's a good example? I could say like, for example, Hyprland dot, just Hyprland. I'll say Hyprland. And then maybe there's another import. Nice. Yeah, why weren't you on the participants list? That was a little odd. For a second, it's just me and Banana. It could be, are you watching in some odd way, like through Discord, or... Because sometimes that can be it. Like, what if I had... intense... So, like, I'm just making some scenario tests. Godot dot... Just Godot. So, like, I have these imports. So I have Hyprland and then intensive Godot. And the way it... Aha! I'm glad to see I still have some viewers. Alright, cool. Awesome, thank you. So I'm thinking the way I can do that is I said Hyprland and intensive Godot, and there's going to be a lot of autofilling, so it's not going to be literal file paths. Huh, weird. Oh yeah, hey, fellow Brave user. So I'm going to create a directory, I think, called imports in here, and what this is going to be is inside of imports, since I import Hyprland and intensive Godot, what that would look like is I'd have like a hyprland.toml file here, and I would also have a directory called intensive, and inside of that intensive Godot.toml, and that's how the imports are going to work. So kind of like this. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm going to test this. So I'm going to hx hyprland.toml, and I'm just going to say pkgs hyprland. And then inside of intensive, I'm going to do the same pkgs Godot. Did I gain any new subscribers through the stream? I kind of want to see real quickly. Ah, hello, Elixir. Alright, 976 subs. Almost at 1,000! Hold on, my brain's not in math mode, so this might take a little while. I'm 24 subscribers away from 1,000. Nice. There's a YouTuber called Vim Joyer, who, when I first subscribed to him, he was at like 800 subscribers, and then I checked on him the next day, and he had like 2,000. He's gaining subscribers crazy quickly, and I don't know how. It could be because he's doing a lot of NixOS stuff, and NixOS is what's trending. NixOS is what got me all the subscribers. Like, if I'd never made a NixOS video, I'd probably not have as many subscribers as I do right now. Not nearly. Like, I'd maybe be at 400 subscribers. Oh, cool, I gained a subscriber. Alright, so inside of format, I'm going to add places, base user, imports, this has to be a .toml. Should I make the user specify .toml? It'd be more clear, but it'd be more mundane. What do you guys think? When importing into Dister, should I make the user specify that these are generation files with .toml, like this, or should I just infer .toml so that they don't have to specify .toml? I'm kind of leaning keeping off .toml. I can always change it later too if it gets too confusing. So I like that. What am I getting as my error? I have to move the chat down with .toml, infer.toml. Yeah, I kind of want to just infer.toml because that would if you had to specify .toml, like if I changed the file format used for generations in like Dister 2.0, for example, they would have to change it too. And then they also have to say .toml for literally every single line that they import something. So I think inferring might be a good option. Oh yeah, the compiler's screaming at me for not using OKR. I'll get to that, compiler. Alright, so okay, it's gonna return the generation, and then if it's an error, it's gonna fail the function, so it's gonna fail build. Okay, compiler, you're gonna stop screaming at me now? Yes. I need to cast this as a slice. So, as string, as str. And of course, then I'm gonna get a warning that this is an unused variable. That's fine, because I'm gonna use it in a little while. And should I say, I'm debating whether I should, nah, that'd be too verbose. Should I though? I don't know. Wait, what do I have in read to gen? Read to gen 76. Whoop. Guess banana had to go. No worries, no worries. Alright, so generations. I want to be safe here, and I want to say let generation let gen imports equal generation dot imports dot clone. So it's a new array, so I'm not going to modify that. And then I'm going to change this to gen imports. And the reason I'm doing this is actually going to be modified. So gen imports, and in gen imports, what I'm then going to do is generation dot extend. So it's going to basically concatenate this igen. I'm going to specify igen. Yeah. So. igen read to gen. Alright, let me just test this. Alright, also, what did I change? Oh, I also need to change the default generation. Other generation files to import. And then I'll also write an example here since this is a bit more of a confusing one. Intensive apps. Dot config Dister imports intensive apps. Alright, see ya, Yammy Strix. Or, oh, you're still here. Actually, you're the only one still here, it appears. Huh. Alright, see ya, Aditya. Aditya. There's 3 people here according to the UI. Yeah, this UI is really glitchy. YouTube ought to fix it. Okay, cool. Yeah, what the heck is wrong with this UI? Oh, is the UI just recording people who are actually engaged, but not actually watching? Hold on. If I go back to here. Oh, that's weird. Oh, it's not even consistent. It says 3 concurrent viewers here, but 4 concurrent viewers here. Dang, YouTube has to fix their stuff. Like, what the heck? Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping that when Odyssey becomes popular enough, I can have my Odyssey channel be my main channel and YouTube just be like my YouTube channel that still I'm obviously not gonna abandon, but like Odyssey would be my main channel. That doesn't really mean anything, obviously. Because, like, I do actually use both YouTube and Odyssey, so any comments left on either platform I would still respond to. But, yeah, I'm hoping Odyssey surpasses YouTube soon, because that would be awesome. Yeah. Also, not to be nitpicky, but it's actually spelled like this. It's weird. Odyssey spells it like that, but the real word is spelled like how you spelled it. Yeah, it's you can find it here. And you can actually find my Odyssey channel here. Oh, wait. Hold on. I spelled it wrong. https://odyssey.com/@oglomc8. Found me? Cool. Yeah, I think I have like 40 subscribers on Odyssey, something like that. Not a lot. Yeah, same as my YouTube. Same profile picture, same username, same videos. Alright, so now it's the moment of truth. Is my testing gonna work? And I should make sure to uninstall the version of Dister I have installed via Pacman. Alrighty, it's compiling. I love how Rust, when you're compiling the project with Cargo, unlike something like Clang or GCC, the output is actually really pleasant to look at. Whereas like compiling a C or C++ program, your terminal just looks like it's filled with a bunch of gibberish. I love the attention of detail. Yeah, like, it's actually readable. And since it's all colorful and nice to look at, I actually feel great watching a Rust program compile. It's actually kind of relaxing, not gonna lie. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna use mprox. I'm gonna add a new process, bash, add a new process, bash. So now I can switch between these like this, and I can have one in my Dister config. By the way, mprox is actually another program written in Rust. It's a little like tmux, but it's more stacks. Dister gen list. Right. I'm gonna Dister gen info. Moment of... Oh my god, yes, it works. First try. Let's go. So, the packages list is git Hyprland Godot. And in my config, if I hx gen.toml, I have packages git, and then under my imports, Hyprland and Godot. And it actually read those. That's awesome. Dister. Yeah, if you want to go visit the GitLab, you can find it right there. There's a wiki. If you want to read the wiki for Dister, it's also on there. I should probably link it in the README. But yeah, wikis. I pride myself in being able to write URLs from memory. Dister gen commit soupcan Oh, mprox. It's, you can install it. I installed it via cargo. I just, I said cargo. Here. I said cargo install mprox. Like that. And then to run it, I just ran mprox. Yeah. Oh yeah, Zillige. Zillige is more like Tmux. Zillige is, I would call it Tmux alternative. mprox is not really an alternative. It's more of like a process manager, a process compactor. It's not meant to have like two processes visible at the same time. It's just to stack two processes together. That's how I would explain it. And it also tells you if the process is currently up or down, which is kind of nice too. Alright, Dister gen list. Alright, so this is how I know that I have this generation to build. So I'm going to do Dister gen current. And also let me just make sure I'm running my custom build. Yeah. So Dister gen current build. Hyprland Godot. And yeah, it saw that in the previous generation I installed Git, so it installed these packages. So yeah, that's imports down. I'm gonna try something just out of curiosity. I'm gonna, since this is now in a working state, cargo locked, cargo toml, config generation, yeah. Imports. And I'm gonna do one more thing just to see how this turns out. obj print. Imports. This is definitely going to go horribly. That's why I'm definitely not keeping this in the final program. I just want to see what would happen. Zillige. You only use Zillige for node servers? Huh. Yeah, I actually have Zillige installed as well. It's a bit ugly, but you can actually rice Zillige, which is really cool. Zillige is also written in Rust. I think my wrists and fingers are kind of getting tired. I'll probably take a break after the stream. Alright, what would happen if I... Okay, that sort of worked. I don't know. I'm definitely not going to keep this in here. Because, like, if the Hyprland thing imports another thing, it's going to end up in this list too, and that's just going to create a mess. Hold on, I'm trying to decide. On the other hand, that would actually tell you what is imported. Nah, it's a terrible idea. obj print. Oh. Oh, mprox for node servers. Ooh, so you actually use Zelige. Nice. All right, so, Clydo list, Clydo check 3, Clydo list, importing extra generation TOML files, check. I'm also gonna yeah. Wiki. I'm not sure if this will work, but I kind of want to try it. Hold on, I'm gonna actually just try this in the temporary editor. Readme MD, edit single file. What would happen if I did this? Wiki, like that. Wiki, https gitlab.com. I have 88 videos on my channel. Odyssey is only syncing 9. Yeah, see, I don't sync. I just manually upload to both platforms. Maybe it's in the process of syncing your other videos. I'm not sure. Yeah, when I make a video, I just manually upload to both platforms. A bunch of copy pasting. I don't really want to rely on the sync feature. Let's see how this turns out. About Dister is a tool that aims at mimicking what NixOS does. Reproducibility for any Linux distribution. How should I edit this? Yeah, I'll do that. So I'll copy this. Yeah, I'm not gonna rely on sync. Sounds like it's too unreliable. Funny. Smoking grass. I'm actually going to make sure if I spelled mimicking right. How to spell mimicking. Mimicking. Yeah, I spelled it wrong. Cool. Dister is a tool that aims at mimicking what NixOS does, reproducibility for any Linux distribution. Cool. Dister. I'm using EZA, which is a fork of EXA, because EXA is currently a dead project. So yeah, I just sudo pacman-s EZA. Yeah, so the new one. Cat 1.3.0 cargo.toml. Alright, 1.3.0, 1.3.0, good. I don't make Rust videos just because I started making Linux videos. Not everyone wants to see a Rust video. There's already a ton of Rust channels out there, and really, I just want to make Linux videos. I might make a few Rust videos here and there, but my channel is mainly about Linux. Yeah, I might make a few Rust videos. I don't know. I might make a video about how Haskell users would like Rust. Yeah, honestly, I get more Linux ideas than I do Rust ideas. Git commit-m 1.3.0. Cool. Thank you. Alright, so now you're going to see how I update Dister on my Arch repository. So I'm going to uninstall Dister that I installed via Cargo, and I'm going to reinstall the one via pacman. So sudo pacman-s dister. And so now I've got Dister. I've got the older version I wrote, 1.2.3. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cd into dev package builds. I'm going to make sure I have all of them. I'm going to cd into the Dister directory, and I'm going to do a make package -cf for clean force. And it's going to compile Dister into an Arch package. Alright, so now I can rm-rf the Dister directory in here, and I can move Dister into dev oglo arch repo x8664. Yeah, exa/eza is definitely more mature, I feel like. Like, it's just been around for longer. Yeah. Yeah, actually, if you install Eza, at least on Arch, it actually adds exa. Well, it doesn't add exa. What it does is, like, if I pacman -qs exa, you can see that I don't have exa installed. I have Eza installed, but I still have the exa command. And it just does the same thing as the Eza command. It's just an already aliased thing. Alright, now I have to rebuild my Arch repo. Yeah. Alright, so if I refresh... Yeah, that's probably a good thing, honestly. Dister 1.3.0. What is rat? What is rat? Bat is written in Rust. There, I have my regular Dister config back. So, now that I have... Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I actually pushed. Yeah, I did. I can close this now. Delete, remove process. Delete, remove process, quit. Exit. So now if I dister-v, I have 1.2.3 currently installed. Now I'll open another terminal, and I'll do sudo pacman -syy, and this will sync my repositories, and then sudo pacman -s dister to reinstall it. And now if I run the dister-v command again, yep, I have my new version of Dister installed now. Awesome. So now, I guess I can finalize the stream by just cleaning up my Dister config a little. Oh, another thing I should do, I'll do it later, but because it's not mandatory, but I could make it so Dister actually automatically creates this imports folder. So I'm going to touch imports, shared intensive, I guess, .toml. Imports intensive.toml, pkgs, flatpaks, crates, and now I can hx my machines, and I can move element I can move all of these into imports intensive, and that's awesome because now I can just import this back into this file. Imports intensive. And I can colossus gen.toml, I can just delete this in Colossus, and I can pull this there too. Man, I love making my own programs just cause I can add the features that I need. Now I can move my flatpaks there that are intensive. And yes, I actually do have Blender installed as a Flatpak. And I can test to make sure everything is still working with Dister gen commit imports test Dister gen current build. Okay, good, nothing comes up. That means it worked. And if I Dister gen info, everything is still here. And I'm actually going to test imports in imports. So I'm going to create a virtualization.toml file. Touch virtualization dot. Alright, good night. Virtualization.toml hx imports virtualization.toml packages night. Element desktop, Kden Live, all of this. Now I'm going to make another test commit. Cool, it works flawlessly. Alright, I think that will conclude the stream. So thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you all next time.